This here is a picture of the house that Malcolm X spent part of his childhood. It's in the Roxbury section of Boston. And apparently archaeologists are digging in an effort to uncover more about the slain black rights activists' early life, as well as the property's long history, which possibly includes Native American settlement. The 2-week archaeological dig began Tuesday, March 29th, 2016. Now, this 2.5-story home in Boston's historically black Roxbury neighborhood was built in 1874. City archaeologist Joseph Bagley said his office chose to dig up the site because it's likely that work will be needed soon to shore up the foundation of the vacant and run-down structure. Was a large piece of fine porcelain that Bagley says was likely part of a dish set owned by the family of Malcolm X's sister, who still owns the house. Once the initial rubble is cleared, a ground-penetrating radar survey will be used to determine the best locations to dig. Major excavation work is expected to dig up to 4 feet into the ground. The site will be open to the public throughout to observe the work, which I think is pretty neat. We don't actually go in there looking for anything, Bagley says. It's more like we're looking for anything that might tell us something about the people that lived there. Which is, if you think about it, folks, an interesting perspective to dig from. Rodnell Collins, a nephew of Malcolm X who lived with him in the house, hopes the survey can raise public awareness of his family's deep roots in Boston. Or maybe just about the family itself. He's been working for years to renovate the dilapidated structure for public tours and other uses. I'm sure they're missing the funding. The former Malcolm Little was a teenager in the 1940s when he lived with his sister Ella Little Collins, hyphenated, and her family at 72 Dale Street. The house was designated a city landmark in 1998 because it's the only known dwelling from the outspoken activist's formative years in Boston still standing. No physical move in my life has been more pivotal or profound in its repercussions, Malcolm X wrote in his autobiography about his time in Boston. Also quoted to have written, quote, "All praise is due to Allah that I went to Boston when I did. If I hadn't, I'd probably still be a brainwashed black Christian." End quote. Christians, white and black, don't get upset at his statement. That was his perspective. Born in Omaha, Nebraska, Little had bounced around from foster homes following his father's death and his mother's institutionalization for a nervous breakdown. Institutionalization for a nervous breakdown. Little became his legal guardian. That's his sister. But Malcolm rebelled against family life and landed in a Boston prison for burglary charges in his early 20s. There he became a Nation of Islam follower and dropped his surname in favor of X to represent his family's lost African ancestral name. But eventually, Malcolm left the Nation of Islam after he came back from Africa. He went to Mecca. He adopted a more conciliatory tone and converted to Sunni Islam before being gunned down allegedly by Nation of Islam adherents at a speech in New York City in 1965 at the age of 39. It's never too late to do the right thing, so I hope that they've received some donations to help beautify that house and the neighborhood. Could you imagine if Malcolm X was alive during this time, do you think he'd be a rapper? Or it's never too late to do the right thing, so I hope that they've received some donations to help beautify that house and the neighborhood. He'd go into politics. What do you guys think Malcolm X would be doing if he was living today? Think about it. This has been Me the People. Break this news. This here is a picture of